I just hit it.
Okay,
So
thanks.
we're live. Okay.
Yay.
And we're muted. And then here we go. Do we have quorum? Can somebody just tell me?
I think so.
Okay. Is Dean Cobb here?
I think it's in the bathroom.
She's right there.
She is?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yes, she is. She's here.
Okay, cool.
Let's check it.
Carrie will be coming when she's
Carrie's
finished.
supposed to not be working today. I don't know why Carrie's coming here.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's why she's not gonna come.
No, she's in a meeting, right? Oh no, she was in a meeting with Ryan. I'm telling her not to come.
Oh, so I wanted to call this special meeting to order. Let me see if I can pull up the agenda. And don't talk about my tabs, okay? Those tabs are with me for life.
Shit.
So before we call this meeting to order, I just want to acknowledge the fact that we are conducting business on the native land of the Hahamonga tribe of the Tongva Nation. And if we can, just give a moment of silence for those who came before us. Okay, so I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 4:07 p.m. I'm going to start with roll call. Dion Shelton is here. Christopher Tung.
Here.
Ureni Reyes.
Here.
Ryan Tan.
Here.
Ariane Nazarian.
Here.
Mackenzie Rivera.
Here.
Connie Rivera.
Here.
Jessica Wu.
Here.
Frida Ramirez. Absent. Santiago Vargas. Absent. David Ramirez. Absent. Alex Sarkissian. Absent. Okay. And Francis is not here either. So we're going to move on. There are no public comments on non-agenda items. We don't have any introductions and reports today. We're going to go straight to discussion. So unless you all want to report something, because our official meeting is tomorrow, and I feel like whatever y'all want to report, we could report it tomorrow at the official board meeting, if that's all right with y'all.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's okay? A consensus of okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to call this meeting today because of the current crisis, again, that the state of America is in, particularly the constant attack on African Americans in this country. Recently, we all witnessed George Floyd get murdered on camera by a police officer or 3 police officers, and no justice was taken. And then following that, there were protests, peaceful protests that turned into riots and looting, and ended up getting a lot of American citizens put in places of harm. Children were pepper sprayed, elderly were pushed down, shot with rubber bullets, just a whole bunch of chaos that, is not only traumatic for me as a Black woman, but it's traumatic for y'all too, to sit and watch this unfold and feel like you have no place or you have no right to say anything, or you feel like, you know what I'm saying? Just based on the conversations that we've been having surrounding this issue and the social media posts, I just wanted to have this meeting so we can talk. I know that this says a collaboration town hall event, which is something that I wanted to do because in light of the situation, I was advised to. So basically, I asked Dr. Indra Jonas if we can hold a candlelight vigil for George Floyd at the Mirror Pools, and she said no, because the campus is closed due to COVID-19, which is understandable. I get it, you know what I mean? But I feel like, sending out our statement, I feel like out of all the statements that came out of PCC, ours was the best one. Not even just having bias of being the president of AS, but it was the most sincere. And besides Dr. Gina Lopez, you know what I mean? But she sent that to faculty. She didn't send it to students unless I think she did. She might have sent it out to students, but you know what I mean? She sent that to her peers and we sent that to our peers. And I think, you know, we should have this discussion amongst ourselves about how we feel right now and about, you know, just the current state of events and how y'all feel and you know, what can we do to help our students? Because after my term, it will be, you know, it'll be Mackenzie's turn to be president, you know what I mean? And I think this conversation will be great for her, you know what I'm saying, to just have some guidelines, some steps, something so she can continue the fight, because this is a fight that needs to be continued. It doesn't need to just end, you know, when the sensation dies down, when the people get tired, you know what I mean? It needs to keep going on. So I just want to open it up for discussion. One, to see how y'all are feeling. I know we have a lot of conversations, but how y'all really feel about this situation. And two, what do y'all think we can do as an organization to support a community of students that is constantly disenfranchised and marginalized and targeted by our country's laws? So y'all can talk whenever you want.
I think posting productive, not that all information isn't productive, but I think posting actual links and information where people can take action on, not just information that's just for the sake of knowledge, would be nice for an organization like ours.
And what does that look like?
I mean, I sent a Tumblr link, and I was sharing it with Jessica too. But one of my friends from high school, she made a comprehensive post that has a ton of articles, a ton of foundations you can donate to, including bail funds, different activist groups, a ton of like studies. I don't know what else I can summarize, but like it's like this huge comprehensive thing on the movement that's going on right now. And even some helpful documents to like I think there's one that I saw from PBS that's like how to talk to your kids about Black History Month, and it touches on like how to talk to them about racism. I think things like that I think it's nice that it's comprehensive, but I think we can pick some stuff that we stand behind, things that we think are productive, and include that in whatever we're going to do.
Thank you for that, Ariane. So do you all want to, I think that's really great. I think posting information and things, resources for students and of the African-American community can use, as well as non-African-American students. So let's not talk about what we can do. I want to talk about how y'all feel. How do you all feel watching the news, seeing these images? Like, how does that make y'all feel?
Gross.
It feels like we're just kind of standing by and like, you know, we're shouting at people and begging them to do something about it, but nothing is being done, and that feels very hopeless. I mean, it hasn't, you know, I don't live in a community that has protesting. I don't know anybody who has gone to a protest, so I don't know if I have a right to say, you know, if I've been really affected by it, but I think emotionally for me, it's very distressing.
Thank you, Chris. Ariane, you were gonna say something?
No, I just said I feel gross.
Okay. And then Ryan, were you gonna say something?
Yeah. But yeah, so like I talked to Jordan about this earlier because he texted me just checking in. But for the first couple of days, like I mean, I was definitely like overwhelmed with everything going on, because like I mean, like everything was like it was like on my social media, it was on my news, it was on all the group chats I was in, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but for the first couple days, I was just kind of overwhelmed with everything going on. And with the past couple days that I've been doing, I just kind of like have been really educating myself, because the more that I was like really, the more that like I was like in with everything going on, the more I started realizing how uneducated and also like how disconnected I was by just like not watching the news as much. So for the past couple of days, I've just been really educating myself, talking to friends, talking to mentors, and just kind of like really understanding the movement inside and out, and also protests and everything. And I feel a little bit less overwhelmed now, because I am starting to find the way to utilize my own platform in helping and supporting and also uplifting and amplifying the voices. So I'm feeling a little less overwhelmed, but definitely with everything going on in the media, it's definitely been making me feel more upset, frustrated, and also just kind of, I'm hopeful that things will change after this. But it is making me frustrated with everything that's been going on.
Thank you for sharing that, Ryan. I too, I feel you because like the first couple of days, I was definitely overwhelmed. I was so hurt. I think Saturday night, I just sat and I cried, and for like an hour, and and I went home, and I went to go hug my mom, and I went to go hug my dad and my brother, and just like we were just, we were sad. Like it is sad. You know what I mean? It's not something to be pitied or anything to look at like in that type of aspect, but it is sad that, we all have to experience this traumatic experience. Like it's not just like I keep saying that it's not just the Black community. Like, yes, we are the center of what is going on, but literally it affects the way everyone lives. You know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to talk to y'all about this, because it does not just only affect me. It affects the very way you all live. Like, you know what I mean? You have parents who might not be from America and who are afraid to speak up because the police are seen as this like overbearing entity that can just rip your whole family apart if you do something the wrong way. And I don't think that that's right. I think, that people should be held accountable for their actions. And I do think that these laws need to be changed. And I want to be a part of that change. And I think, Associated Students has always been at the forefront of the organization of change, especially when it comes to an institution like PCC. I was just at the Student Success Committee meeting where they were discussing the resolution that Academic Senate passed yesterday, because it was met, once the decision was made, it was met by some adversity from faculty members. And it was very disheartening to hear our Black professors say, there's no, say I get an email in an email chain, and you see someone saying like, well, this isn't fair. All lives matter. All lives matter. You know what I'm saying? It's not just the Black lives. We should make a resolution to address to not harm any of our students. Well, what do you mean by that? You know what I mean? So it's a very sensitive subject, and it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. You know what I mean? But I think in the place of uncomfortability is where you grow. And that's why I think this time is a little bit different, because it's not just Black people who are upset. It is a majority of people who used to support the police who are now upset because they went to go protest, or they were in the vicinity of a protest and they were brutalized. You have people who live on the street of a protest going home, getting dragged by their arms, their legs, shot with rubber bullets, hit with tear gas, children being maced. All of this is because of excessive force. And I think we need to utilize our platform to speak out against that. And I wanted to know what that might look like for you all. because I know what it looks like for me. You know what I mean? But it's not just about me. It's about all of us. So what does that look like for y'all?
Like one thing that I've learned, I guess, like, you know, I listen to a lot of radio and I read a lot of, you know, personal biographies and stuff. It's like, it's very hard to dislike someone if you kind of know their story. And I know a lot of the rhetoric right now is about like, we should fire the chief, we should, like, all police officers are bad, but no, I think it's just, you know, I know it's very cliche to say, but, you know, but a few bad apples kind of ruined a bunch. So I don't want to like exclude, you know, people who can make a difference, especially the law enforcement community, from the conversation. One thing that I have heard, you know, and I've long time ago, and I saw was another person in student government at a different college. He would invite, I think, one of the local like officers, and I think they called it like coffee with the captain or something like that, where they would invite a law enforcement official to come and do talks about what they do, how they deal with issues, what issues are out there and how they're addressing it. And I thought that was a very innovative and interesting idea to explore, especially right now where, you know, people are just shutting each other out, condemning entire communities or, you know, the police department when, you know, I think we should, when I think the narrative should be reaching out, having discussions about this. So that's kind of my suggestion / insight into that, I guess.
So you're saying have an open dialogue with the police, like maybe
Correct.
the PCC police or the Pasadena the police department. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I think you know, we're so used to seeing police officers kind of in that position of authority, right? Like, you know, we just have to be silent and obey, but we have to kind of realize that they are human beings too, right? And I think kind of making that connection and bridging that gap is very important.
I agree. I believe I totally agree. I think, you know, it would make an impact if we did have conversations with the law enforcement, because as I don't know if you all are familiar, but Pasadena Police has not always been like an upstanding organization. They do have they have changed. I believe they have done a good job of not trying to over police the northwest side of Pasadena, California, but they have killed people, Black people, before. I believe they killed a young man in 2012 by the name of Kendrick McDade, and then they killed another African-American man, I believe in 2016, because they shot him, or they like, I forget his name, but it was so the Pasadena Police Department has had its very own interactions with the African American community that are not that positive. But I do see the where that can make progress is having those conversations with law enforcement and others to help bring the community a healing. I do believe that. And Dean Kopp, yes.
So, I have so many thoughts, but I guess I'm concerned that the conversation is about the police, and how do we mend with the police? We're talking about structural and systemic racism and oppression. And this is not the first event, and Dion has been speaking very eloquently for the last few days in many meetings. But this is not the first event, and this is not the second event, third, fourth, fifth, even in the last 4 months, right? Of Black people being murdered by police, which constitutes state-sanctioned murder and state-sanctioned violence against a race of people. And I know it's uncomfortable to imagine that this is true, but it is. And now we have non-law enforcement people feeling so emboldened that they believe it's completely acceptable to chase, corner, and murder a Black man out for a jog that he did every day. This is the country we have right now. And let me be clear that racists are coming out of the woodwork. We're seeing that in chats, on emails. And so I'm sorry, I guess, if you don't understand, if you're not Black and you don't understand the full weight of this. And I appreciate, I think this group, and Dion's right, probably more than any group on this campus with your statement. Reading that statement from you all made me have hope. I have not been very hopeful. I've been altering between rage and being despondent at my core. And I have been through this many times before, but maybe it's because of the coronavirus too and all that disruption. I don't know. This feels worse now. And I want you to understand the weight of that. And now add all the things you're experiencing as students who are not Black students or Black people. All the stuff I know all of you are struggling with, right? And now you have this, just bombarded with the murder of people who look like you. You are not safe. Clearly, they're telling you you're not safe. You can't stay out now because we have curfews, right? You know what I do every night since we started these curfews? I frantically check, frantically text my children who are grown to make sure they are home. They don't live with me. Because they are Black children, young adults, and if they get caught up in a curfew, think of all that means. So it's not just this murder. It is the system and the structure that now has me worried, not just about my children getting murdered for something, for being Black. Now I got a curfew every day that I got to worry about them getting caught up in. Then arrested, beaten, or murdered. And I'm saying this because this whole all lives matter and blue lives matter. When we talk about Black lives, we are talking about Black people. Blue is the color of a uniform. All lives matter. And I mean, there is political discussion about whether this resolution that passed Academic Senate yesterday should go to the board or not, or be made public broadly. We didn't have that kind of discussion when we passed, the college rightly passed the API resolution against racism and bias directed at API people, brothers and sisters, right? Nobody was saying, we don't know if we're going to do that. It might not be a good look, might be too political. Nobody said that. When we celebrated all the other resolutions we've had from the board and the college this year, rightly so, there was no question about it. So if you want to think about something, I want you to think about, why is there a question about this? Why is passing a resolution or anything in support of an acknowledgement and affirmation of the lived experiences of Black people, Black students at PCC, Black faculty, staff, and managers at PCC? Why is that? Why would there be a question of that? And I'm gonna put myself out there and say, because Black lives don't matter. Our lives have been politicized because we're not humanized, right? So when Dion asks you how you're feeling and what your thoughts are on this, I appreciate your candor. And like I said, I know you all go to the ends of the earth for students. But I want you to not just watch the news, read some articles. I think that's great that you made the effort to do that, because that's what we need, right? We need you to try to educate yourself. I want you to not just do that, and I want you to feel the weight of this. And imagine yourself being a Black student right now. So that's my input on that. I don't know if you want to have an event, Dion, or you just want to put stuff out there, but I had to say that. I'm at a, and I'm going to own this with you all. I'm at a point where my fear or loss of job has not always allowed me to speak. But I've decided that for me to continue to remain silent in order to keep a job that would silence me is not worth it. Because I can't live this and be silent, because then I am part of the problem. And I can't dismantle or ask others to dismantle a problem that I am also part of. And so in every form that I can, I'm going to speak truth to power. I'm not going to be silent. And as I said, when I read your letter, you helped me solidify that. So thank you.
Thank you, Dean Cobb, for that. And also thank you to Jessica who helped me write that. You know what I mean? Because of everything that was going on, I just felt in my heart and in my spirit, it would not be right to not say anything, to not stand in solidarity with my people who are mercilessly terrorized every day in this country. If you look back at the year you were born in, I guarantee you, since the day you were born till now, there is something fucked up or horrible that has happened to the African American community. This is not the time to just hope that it goes away, because I want you all to know it's not going away. Before, like Dean Cobb said, she didn't want to lose her job. Jobs have been lost. Schools have been lost. The American people are dealing with a great loss right now. And to watch a man get murdered while people were yelling, "Get off of him." And he was saying, "I cannot breathe." And then having the police say, "Back up, don't touch, or we'll attack you too." Enough is enough. I cannot stay silent, and I don't care what anybody says. And I hope I have your support in this, because I'm not gonna stay silent, and I'm not gonna not say anything, because it hurts me every day to have to worry about if my brother or my dad, my uncle, my nephews who live in Arizona, which is a known racist state, come in contact with the wrong people. And because they don't value the Black life, they will take that life. And I'm so tired of people telling us how we should feel. I'm so tired of people telling us how we should act in a time where no one values our voices. And I think at this time we need to make a stand and actually follow through with that stand to show that to our college that this is not something that needs to be passed or to be just looked over. This is not something that needs to be a fucking pat on the back. It's not something that says, "Oh, well, just teach me. There's Google for that." This is something that needs to be heard. This needs to be acknowledged, and this needs to fucking brought attention to. And it hurts me every day that people are out there on the front line getting tear gassed and hit with rubber bullets because this country rather silence Black voices instead of arrest people who are murderers. And I really, really feel strongly about that. I feel so strongly about that. And I've been going back and forth with myself because I don't want to put anybody in danger, but I cannot sit back and watch people get hurt for protecting myself without standing up myself. And I don't know what I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I asked Dr. Ginger Jonas if we could do something for George Floyd. She said no, bro. And I'm so sad about that. Like, that shit is so whack to me. Like, honestly, she was at forefront in the coronavirus. I'm not even gonna lie, like, she was forefront in the coronavirus. She did what she had to do. But for this, she's not saying shit. She's not doing shit. And that's not right. What does that show? The African American community makes up 4% of PCC. Do you know how small that is? 4%. And if that institution, that big ass, large ass institution cannot support 4% of its community, what the fuck is that? That's not fucking right, bro. Like, all my life, that's not fucking right. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of always thinking to myself, like, if if I don't say anything, then like maybe somebody else will, or if I say this, maybe they won't like me, or maybe they won't respect me, or maybe it'll damage the organization and the relationships that it has with the college. But this is something that I feel like is worth damaging those relationships for. Because if they don't stand for all of their students, how are they going to stand for some? PCC takes pride. It brags about being a diverse community. It brags about striving to make it equitable for all students. But in the moment where a community of its students is hurting, is crying out for help, is being murdered, they are silent. That means a lot. That says a lot. And as the Associated Student Organization with the student government on campus, we cannot be silent like the administration. And that's why I'm asking, what does that look like for y'all? Because I know what that looks like for me. And it's not just about me in this organization, it's about all of us. So that's when I ask you, what does that look like for you? I need to hear your voices, and I need to hear your support right now.
Dion, what do you want from the board? What are you asking them to do right now?
I'm asking them to support me in staging a peaceful protest in remembrance of George Floyd and all the other African Americans who have been killed at the hands of police brutality.
I don't think that we can call ourselves leaders if we don't act. If we act very quickly when other things happen, when a part of our community is being hurt, and we don't stand and act as quickly, I don't think that we are doing our jobs. So whatever that you need me to do, I am here to support you and the movement.
Hey, I shared this email with Dion yesterday as well. Yesterday was the last day of my trustee term, so I sent the trustees an email just with important resources that in an email that I wanted them. So it was basically an email with contact information and things that they would need to reference time and time again. It was not just a one-shot email. But I started off by saying, by attaching our statement that we made and saying, attached to this email is a statement from associated students regarding current events by supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. Written by our ASPCC president, Dion Shelton, she felt it was only right to send out this message in a time when members of our community are hurting and stressed right now. PCC is fortunate to have students, faculty, and administration that have a drive for supporting students' diversity, no matter their age, ability, sexual orientation, race, or gender, through closing equity gaps between and within these groups. I just ended it with, today I know we will all continue to do so, and urge us all to advocate, to support and advocate for these groups beyond statements and resolutions. And I think that's something we need to urge our administration to do, because it's crazy how there's even 1% pushback towards a statement, but once that statement is released, that's not it. Like, that shouldn't be the end of PCC's support of this movement and having their students back.
I think that as leaders, we definitely have a responsibility to rise above everyone and represent the students, because at the end, that's our job. So I agree with Dion. I feel like even though we are not allowed to protest at PCC, we should do it to support our students.
So I don't think the issue was the protest. I think the issue was that we're on lockdown for COVID-19. That's the reason for the not having it on campus. We don't have, no protests. Your protest could be an event, so.
I mean, as long as we practice safe practices, everybody has a mask, and we can do the best in our ability to social distance or anything that we can do to prevent that and work around it, I think it's still necessary to do it.
I think if we follow the precautions and if we have the 6-foot distance, we can go and mark off places for people to stand before the protest happens. So we wouldn't violate these like precautions for COVID, so we can both have like the peaceful protest and be safe and like keep in mind like the livelihoods of people as well. I think that's a solution to the problem, or not the problem, but the obstacle.
I think we also need to make sure that there are people that are living with, or either are high risk or they're living with people that are high risk. And we need to make sure, because I mean, I already know students off the bat that would want to be a part of this, but might be hesitant because of either themselves or the people around them. So figuring out what we can do for them, and also ensure that they don't feel like excluded from this, and that they can still do something that's going to make an impact. Obviously, there's no bigger impact than being somewhere physically. But I think that would add some weight to what we decide to do.
Does anybody else want to say anything?
Yeah,
I definitely,
Oh.
sorry.
You can go, Mackenzie.
I would definitely agree with everything that everyone has said. If we don't go out there and raise our voice and protest, nothing's going to change. Our students can't expect us to be good leaders for them if we stay quiet when all we've been doing is promoting how we're here to represent and raise their voice for them when we know they need it the most. And I do agree with Alex. We do need to find other ways to allow people who can't be there in person to be out there with us, like whether it's utilizing our social media, gathering all the petitions together. They can help create signs to send to those people who are going out on the front lines for them. Like, we can find ways to keep them involved. So I agree with everything everyone has said.
Yeah, I just want to say, Dion, whatever you need, I'm here to support you 100%. And I'm tired of taking time to listen and understand, and I think it's time to take action.
Are we able to allocate funds to help support these like organizations and movements? Because I've been like following up on a couple like ASs from like different UCs and stuff, and I think Riverside is doing that. They're like allocating their funds and like pulling from their, I don't know, resources to go help. Like,
If you did a fundraiser for this and put it in your different account and didn't use any of your the funding you have, operational funds from student activity fee, yes.
so would we be able to have like, maybe for the people that can't go and protest because they have like people at home that are high risk, or they themselves aren't like, I don't know the word for it, but like not, you know,
Able-bodied?
yeah, I'll go with that. Able-bodied. Would we be able to hold like maybe like a live stream event where every like viewer is like an amount of money that will donate to a cause? Or is there like something similar that we can do in that realm?
I mean, we can create like that, like Dean Cobb said, a separate account so that we can have a way for them to donate to that account. And when we do the protests, have that like on a cardboard sign. And then anybody who wants to do that and donate, and also make like a post on Instagram and on our social medias. So if they would like to do that and support it, what we're doing that way, they have that opportunity, and that those funds can be later allocated to the organizations.
Yes.
So like it is doable.
So your biggest obstacle is right now, we're not allowed to have events on campus.
So, oh, go ahead.
I mean, so I think what Jessica suggested possibility, we'd need to set that up. So we'd probably, so we'd need to set that up at the student bank. And one of the things you need to do is set like criteria for that money. So ahead of time when you set up the account, so that like you need to let the donors know where the money's going ahead of time. So the event thing is the big issue because the campus is closed right now. Dion and I, we talked about some other ideas. Dion.
So there are several parks around PCC that aren't close to any businesses or business districts where people, if they did get angry, could go destroy businesses. Because the last thing I want, because I've been telling Dean Cobb and I've been telling Carrie that the last thing I want to do while trying to stand up for my rights is put PCC students in harm's way, because that would make me feel so bad if we organized something and somebody got hurt. So I spoke to the city of Pasadena today, and I asked because I asked what their guidelines were for like gatherings at the park, and they basically told me because of the restrictions, that they aren't reserving space at the time, and they'll start reserving space after June 30th for people to reserve spaces at parks. But if we wanted to have a gathering and it was social distance this gathering, then that's not a problem. So we can meet at parks. It just has to make sure that we are following the social distance or the CDC guidelines for gatherings. So this is something that can be done. And it is something that can impact a community of people who are feeling left out of every conversation. And it gives our students a time to feel community when their community was taken away from them. And so the park that I want to do this at is called Eaton Blanche Park. It's on Del Mar. If you are familiar with the Pasadena area, it's by the Boys and Girls Club on Del Mar. If you are not familiar with the area, literally it's on Del Mar. I think the nearest cross street is like Sierra Madre or Madre, I believe. It's by Wilson Middle School or Willard Elementary School. And so there's the park part, right? Where there's a basketball court, there's tennis courts, there's a play area, there's benches. But there's a open field that's supposed to be a baseball diamond, or it is a baseball diamond, where we can meet, and it has enough space for everyone to be at arm's length and to be able to come together in solidarity. And this is not going to be a moving protest or a vigil. I think I'm going to call it a vigil, because if you call it a protest, I feel like people are going to come with the thought of we're going to destroy some stuff. And I don't want that. I don't want any destruction. I don't want any harm. This is literally peaceful and a place for people to come together and speak their pain. And I think that park is far enough away from businesses that people aren't gonna, they don't have to worry about their businesses. And it's in an area where there's nothing but homes, and we're not destroying homes, or people in the protest are not destroying homes. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's an area where we can do social distancing in a safe manner. And I think we could do this. I really do. Once I spoke to the people at Pasadena, at the city of Pasadena, and they were like, well, we're not telling you you can't have a gathering. You just have to follow guidelines. It's on go for me. Like I'm ready to do this. And I know that there's curfew, and I know that some of you might not be able to come, but that's okay. As long as I have your support, like 100%, like that's all that I need, low-key. Like I just need to have your support. It would be great if I could have y'all standing with me. You know what I mean? But I just need your support. Like honestly, I need you to and I hear it from you all, and I'm so thankful that you do have my back in this situation. Like I really do. Because it just does not feel right to do something on the internet. It just doesn't feel right to have students come sit on Zoom and talk about how they're scared to go outside because they feel like somebody can take their life because it doesn't matter. That's not right. And yes, we can live stream it for individuals who cannot make it there, and who don't want to come outside, we can live stream it. And I think we should set up a fundraiser fund to have extra funds so we can do things like feed our students when there's no food on campus. You know what I mean? Because we get funds from the state, it makes it hard for us to do that besides pizza and stuff. You know what I mean? I think setting up a fundraiser fund and then utilizing the relationships that we do have on campus to get funds from their donors, or to get linked with people who have money, it makes sense. Because this is only the beginning, y'all. and I don't know when it's gonna end.
Do we want to set a date?
Yes, so I don't want it. So next week is I'm so confused with the calendar. Like most of my classes end this week, and I have homework and stuff to do. But I'm also down with doing it on Friday.
I think it should be this week. So I think Fridays. Okay.
Are y'all okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking, because the earliest the curfew that they have set this week is 1 p.m. So I was thinking of doing it, from 10 to 11. And then we meet up, you know what I mean? We meet up and people come, we get everyone's social distance or whatever. And then we kneel for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, because I believe that is the amount of time it took for George Floyd to be murdered. And then after that, we just talk about it. We talk about our experiences at PCC. We talk about, what it's like to live in America and be Black, and then we talk about how we can change these things. It's not just to highlight the problem, because obviously we know what the problem is. This is about community building. It's about community resources collectively coming together to uplift a community that cannot uplift themselves. So that's basically how I want it to go. And that's how I'm planning for it to go, if y'all have my blessing. Or if I have
way around.
Yeah, if I have your blessing.
Can we use our budget to buy face masks for people in attendance?
Mm-hmm.
So
Can I buy face masks? It is advocacy.
it's not legislative advocacy.
Is it not?
Oh, well, it could be.
It could.
It is. It
You're not
is.
gonna
To
have
promote
mass
it to
by,
happen.
but you're not going to have mass by Friday.
Right,
So
but you can. I have people. I know people who are.
I have people.
I have people. What people?
Right.
I have them all. But no, if that is what is needed, then we can get it. I'm asking if that is possible to do that.
So you would have to vote on this item to authorize funding for it.
So the other thing,
So that's my question. Is this a formal Associated Students event?
Unless we lower the cost, right, of the masks or whatever else to $2.99.
Technically, I don't need a vote.
That's true. Frida doesn't either. But if we wanted the AS budget,
your original budget. Remember that.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
my question.
Yes,
Frida.
but sorry, there was funding for constituent lobbying. We do not have strict guidelines on that. There's 50 grand. Just putting that out there.
I'm going to throw this challenge out to you. I think we should do this. I agree. But what this means is that all of you are going to have to work, because there needs to be some information out there. There needs to be tables. There needs to be flyers. There needs to be posters. And so, Frida, I think, yeah, if you want to talk about what are some legislative pieces and educate people on.
Wait, Carrie, I think
We
you.
lost you, Carrie.
Oh, hold on. Hold on.
There you are.
Put on my headphones. I just think if you're going to do this, you got to do it right. And I like this idea of having people there. And I like about, let's be successful when we build community. So that means we need to have tables with resources. That means
So we definitely can't do that, because then that becomes an event in a public place that we don't. This has to be a gathering, right?
challenges. I just would say, let's make sure that we are following through on this community piece.
Yeah.
Having this data and this information available. And also, I think the way we build community is that I think back to the 1960s when people marched, there was education. When you were when you were part of this group, you went through training. You just didn't show up. They talked about how do you protest nonviolently, right? And how do you be part of this? How do you have each other's back? And what do you look for? And they talked about discipline, right? To make sure that the message got across. And I think we can do that. I think there are some enough allies that if we want to pull some people together, and I think that would be a good way to build community, right?
But I guess my question is, do you want this to be a protest or do you want this to be a vigil? Because they're two very different things.
So like I said, I want this to be a visual. I like protest sounds cool, but protest also has a lot of negative connotation. And I don't want, like I said, I would be so heartbroken if a PCC student got maced for no reason or beat up with a baton or hit, anything like that. I understand that that comes with the movement, but I want this to be as non-violent as possible. So calling it a visual will put it into people's minds, because when on Saturday, when they protested or they were at the city hall, they called it a visual as well. And people came, they were there, and then they left. The police did not come at all. And then when they were protesting from La Pin, or AKA La Pintoresca Park, down to Old Town, that's when police got involved. That's when there was that pickup truck that came trying to run people over, came, and I'm not having that. I refuse to set my people up like that. I've been watching. And so I think if we call it a visual, it'll put into the mindset that we're here for healing. And maybe we could have Matt, say a prayer, our local pastor man.
Our in-house spokesman.
You feel me? Say a prayer for us and start it off like that. You have to go, Dean Cobb.
Yeah, I had a meeting at 5.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Sorry. Bye.
Thank you, Dean Cobb.
Tomorrow?
Yes, we have
All
a
right.
regular meeting tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye. But yeah, so I think so. I'm gonna write out the email because I was already speaking to members from First. I was talking to Jasmine, and she said First/Core is down. And I was speaking with the president of Amend, Joseph Merchain, I think his name is. He says the Amend organization is down. I right now, I don't know if any other communities on campus would be down. Like maybe Francis could ask some members from QA or whatever, but I'm not trying to have it so big that people do call the police. You know what I mean? Because
I can talk to Pablo about one thing.
Thank you so much. And so yeah, like I think so. I'm gonna write out an email, and then I'm going to also write out some specific guidelines for what this visual is, because it is in no way a protest. It is in no way a place where people can come and destroy or invoke violence on things. Because while violence does get the attention, it doesn't necessarily solve the problem. Hold on.
Hey, Dion.
Yes, Jordan.
So you just in case, you might want to include obviously Ujima and Black Education on all them. They do have their rites of passage on Friday. So I was just in their club meeting today. So they're trying to use Friday as a day of celebration for them versus Thursday, which is going to be their town hall as well. If you all are interested in attending that. And apparently the president's supposed to be there. So that might also be, but we never know. So you might want to include them in on Friday. Also include me too. I would love to be there, love to support. I used to organize when I was in high school like this, and it's like, it's really giving me just fuel to do this. So please just include me on everything. So that way, if you need anything as well, just let me know and I can see what we can do to best serve you all.
I already sent an email to the president of Ujima. She just hasn't messaged me back. So maybe if I send out another email and ask her if she wants to participate in this. I will definitely send out that email as well. Just those are the people that I reached out to that got back to me, and they were like, we're 100% in support of this movement. So I will definitely reach out to her again, though. I will email her again, and I will tell her what we're planning and ask her to come. And if not, I can, if you can give me emails to like maybe some other board members of Ujima who would like to come out and represent that entity as well.
We are accepting. I don't think. Oh, Carrie asked if we're okay with PCC staff attending. I don't think that's an issue. Yeah.
I would honestly encourage PCC staff to come because it ain't looking too sweet for them and the people. Okay, like I would encourage. Like I would.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who are hurting,
right,
and who are upset because there's two trolls that are looking to get a lawsuit. So they're purposely agitating staff, and we're trying to tell staff, just shut up, don't talk to them.
Related to this?
Oh, relating to the resolution.
Wait, like PCC staff?
Does anybody know what the resolution like wording is?
I can read it to you. Hold on.
It's nothing controversial, but it's these two folks who are insisting that all lives matter, and they're continuing to snipe back and forth. Like people are trying to educate them, but you can't educate people who don't want to be educated, right?
Exactly. You cannot entertain someone who is bent on you or like they're set on like not understanding you.
These are trolls folks from PCC? Like
yes,
PCC staff?
Yep. They're adjunct faculty who haven't taught here since 2018. But for some reason still get the mail from the damn college because IT hasn't dropped the list. I don't know.
Hold on.
We should also, I know Mackenzie and David will do this, but just make sure we keep the new board in this conversation because this is going to be going on past us.
So, I don't know where Dean Cobb sent it to me, but basically the gist of the resolution was that passed in the academic senate overwhelmingly, just so you know. It's basically stating that PCC will protect African-American students from racial profiling and or murdering of unarmed African-American students while on campus, basically, and making sure that this community of people are respected and treated justly is basically what the gist of the resolution was. And everyone was like, I was in academic senate yesterday and they supported it like full, like it was I don't think there was any no's. If there was like, it was very little. But once the word got out that the resolution was passed, then that's when the all lives matter people started coming out the woodwork saying, well, why does it have to be just about Black students? Why couldn't it be a resolution that said we wouldn't harm all unarmed students? Or all lives matter. I think the thread was all lives matter. All lives matter are the words that they said.
And just for logistics, academic senate is the last group before the board of trustees for resolution approval. No,
so it goes
college council, isn't it?
Yes, it goes board of trustees, college council. No, it goes academic senate, college council, board of trustees.
Got it.
And because of this pushback, they're basically trying to stop this resolution from coming to the board of trustees.
So this is the thing. We want to look, everyone wants to say these trolls, these two individuals are trolling and stopping this from happening. It's not. They are people who are on the outs. If people are not letting this go through, it's supposedly the good people who have approved of this, right? So Dean Cobb just sent something. I don't know. Jessica, what are you holding up?
Oh, the email that she sent.
Yeah, so
no groups allowed.
This is my thing is if people are saying, whoever's saying that they don't want to move this forward, then we need to know who that is. Because Mark and Teresa Cummings are not on any sort of position of power to not have this move through. So my question is, who is talking about not moving this through?
Do you want me to name them?
Sure, who's saying it?
Because in the email that I received, it was somebody named Teresa Cummings.
Yeah, it's Teresa Cummings, who's an adjunct business professor, and Mark Angelucci, who's an adjunct professor, who both have not taught since 2018. They are not on College Coordinating Council. They are not on any academic senate that I know of. So if someone else is saying, let's not move it forward, then.
So the main person is Teresa L. Cummings.
Yep.
And
Mark Angelucci.
I believe so.
And Mark Angelucci actually belongs to a very questionable group on the outside. I don't necessarily think it's, Jordan, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's not NAMBLA, like man, boy, love thing. It's some weird group. And I saw that and I was like, what? I don't know if you saw that.
Like a pedophile group?
That's what it mean. Like, it seemed like when I was looking at it, but there's so many. But really, those are the two people who are doing it.
Would there be any, this is a stretch, but would there be any way we could urge the board of trustees to relieve them of their position?
They are adjuncts, so I don't know if they're hired. So they get hired at the whim of the division. They're like in the pool, but they haven't been taught since 2018.
If a tenured faculty can't teach a class, they just go to the adjunct faculty and like, hey.
Yeah.
Can we get them like blacklisted or something?
No, because that's what they want, because that's how they can file a lawsuit and be set up for life.
They want to have like
attention,
discrimination or something, defamation of character, something that's going to be able to hold up in court in order for their lawsuit. Because right now, if they try to sue the school for a resolution, it ain't going to go through. But if they sued the school because they were discriminated against, they lost their job because they, said something that the majority didn't like, anything along the lines of discrimination, defamation of character, it can pass.
Wait, what is the did you say the resolution?
No, I couldn't find it in my.
I can't find it. Jordan, did you get it? I didn't get it.
I think you're any.
No, all I got was Dean Cobb sent me Gina's email that she had sent to everybody. I didn't.
Ureni's got it.
Yeah. I think it's my job.
Can you read it?
Yeah, Ureni, really quick before Dion, basically Dean Cobb just basically sent that on the email for the parks that they are not allowing groups to gather because of COVID, but she suggested that you contact the organizers of the other events that have happened already to see how they have gotten around that or if they just met up. So I don't know if you want to do that or if you want to assign somebody to do that.
I'll probably do. I don't know who organized it though.
The NAACP. I'll send you the link.
Okay, thank you. And then I could just get in contact with them and ask. But if not, we could still just meet up. So, so the resolution itself, it says, well, the resolution, the name is the denouncing of killing unarmed Black African-American citizens due to racial profiling, unjust, wait, scroll it down, Ureni. Just scroll it down just a little bit.
Down.
Yeah, so I could read the name. Am I tripping?
What?
I think I'm free.
No.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, just scroll down a little bit.
Okay.
Scrolled up.
It says racial profiling and racist ideologies that promote trauma and affirming PACCD's commitment to health and well-being, inclusion, and progress of the Black African Americans on campus and in the greater community. And basically, all of these whereases are statement saying that this is what the resolution means. So it says, whereas the Academic Senate of the Pasadena Area Community College District condemns all hate crimes and discriminatory actions on the basis of race and ethnicity, as well as ability, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, and religion due to the physical, mental, and emotional harm these behaviors cause. Whereas the recent and past killings of unarmed Black Americans have created an environment of anxiety, mistrust, and outrage in the United States for Blacks in America, as well as for their allies. Whereas the occurrences have led to the fear and distress amongst the Black African American community at Pasadena City College. Whereas some have taken these injustices as opportunities to become emboldened in their racial bias and violent activities towards Black and African Americans, such as in the cases of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Freddie Gray, and Michael Brown, among many others in the recent year. Whereas the numerous fatalities associated with unarmed Black African Americans have caused our Black students and staff to be further marginalized, stigmatized, and vilified, resulting in the fear of harm and the possible death just for existing. Whereas 72% of the Black African American college students attend community college, making this system the gateway to higher education and career development, which are necessary components for community strength and vitality. Colleges such as PACCD must be visible advocates for students, for this student population. Whereas the frequency of these incidents, students have reported feelings of isolation, despair, and vulnerability. Some also reporting episodes of post-traumatic stress that come with experiencing continuous historical radicalized trauma. I got to keep going, it's a lot. Whereas Pasadena City College is home to merely 1,552 students, roughly 3.84%, leaving this vulnerable population of students susceptible to various forms of bigotry, microaggressions, stigmatization, and discrimination. Whereas the Academic Senate of the PACCD affirms its commitments to the security and well-being of the African American campus community and its willingness to create a supportive, safe, and equitable environment that will allow these and other students to thrive. The resolve is that the Academic Senate of the Pasadena Area Community College District denounces the murdering of unarmed Black African Americans and the discriminatory actions that manifest against this community. The Academic Senate joins with the Black African American community at the Pasadena City College and abroad in affirming our students against the very real possibilities of violence against them due to their perceived racial and ethnic identity. We support our allies in effort to end the slaying of unarmed citizens in Black African American communities.
I will let Dion breathe, but two things. I don't know if it's in our place. I don't know if place is the right word, but can we I don't know if we have another emergency meeting, but put our support behind this resolution as it moves forward?
Like the seal?
Sure.
Oh, like AS supports the Academic Senate resolution 20.5.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely we can make that an action item.
Book a meeting for Thursday.
Yeah.
Make it a special, if you can get it posted now, it can be a special meeting and you can approve that.
Okay.
And also, I don't know, just hearing you read that, I think a lot of these resolutions, a lot of resolutions are passed at board meetings for various things. And they're always long, as we heard Dion saying it. I don't know what this would look like, but if we could put a video together of each of us saying one of these lines in this resolution and kind of tacking that to AS supporting this, and basically each person, I don't know, Dion can decide or whoever, what line, what I guess whereas paragraph each person wants to say, and then just snip that all together and end it with, this is a resolution that PTC should support. There's no reason we shouldn't be. I think that would be a way that it gets real attention too. And it's not just another piece of paper, because everyone's getting thrown information right now. A lot of text. I mean, if you go on Instagram, there's so many resources people are giving out, but it's all text. And I think something like speech from our group, our ethnic spicy group, would be powerful.
I agree. I think we could do that. I think we should do that. I because I support this resolution wholeheartedly, and I don't think, and I just, it upsets me that this, out of all the resolutions that have been passed, this one is the one that's getting pushback. And I mean, obviously we know why. They picked a side, but you know, we're going to be on the good side of history, not the bad side. Where we are supporting the people who are actually getting hurt. So I definitely agree. I will, if you, Alex, want to send out like that email to have people sign up to read, I think there's 9 whereases, or I think, if I'm not mistaken, so we only need like 9 of us.
Wait, well, so I was gonna say, it should start off with Ureni, and then start off by saying the academic senate approved this on this date, and then go off into it, and then end with you.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As a president, and we could kind of end it with like on whatever date that meeting was. I think it was like 2 days ago or yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Yeah, I love knowing my sense of time. On June 1st, 2020, the Academic Senate of Pasadena City College approved Resolution 20.5 that denounced, and then she can read that. Now our board would like to read it out to you in its entirety, and then go off into it, and then end it. So maybe Dion doesn't even read a line of it. She just kind of wraps it up and says this, and then that would allow more room so that all of us can have a part in this.
So I think, Alex, I think this is a really great idea. I think this is details that you and Dion can iron out, and then the board can do that. I think for sure you guys should definitely support this resolution, and you are allowed as one of the shared governance committees or the shared governance boards on campus to support resolutions that you feel are in favor of students. And I think this is definitely one that you all should support, and you all should move forward, because the more support that's behind a resolution, the more serious that the school is going to have to take it. And I think that's beautiful that you all want to do that. And I think the videos definitely should happen. I think that is so, so important.
Definitely.
I would say also I think it's the 4th whereas, where it lists the names of all these people, putting up pictures of them as they're speaking. I know these are logistical things, but I just wanted, if anyone else has, if anyone else has ideas of smaller things.
So I think this is a really good start. So I personally have to go like very, very soon, but so just have like a recap of everything so that we all know what we have to do and our part in it. If y'all want to do the masks, you can add that. Well, actually, no, I don't need it to be approved. So if you want the masks, let me know how many, and we can make that happen. And then I'll work on compiling like a legislation list. And yeah, just like a recap so everybody knows what they're doing.
Okay, I will definitely be doing that, because I have to go too. I'm ready. I have homework and stuff. But yes, I will be emailing you all tonight with a recap, and just to let the people know who weren't here, both the Davids know that wasn't here. what went down at this meeting. And then I'm going to just double check. I'm going to double check what we can actually do as far as this in-person gathering to make sure it's 100% okay for people to gather. And then I will be also emailing you all that probably like by tonight, or if not the end of tomorrow or morning, I don't know, one of those. And then so we can just move forward and, you know, keep the fight alive and you know, represent our community the best way we know how.
Iman,
Yes.
so in the chat, I did put the names of the organizations that organize the vigil that is happening currently right now. So you can contact them. And then this is for Jessica and Alex, the fiddly little details, which I know they do so well, is we might also want to start thinking about getting a QR code for all the details, like all the stuff that Frida's going to pull together, that we could just have maybe one sheet out with the QR code that if you want information, scan the QR code and you can get all that information.
Yeah, I don't know how to do the QR code study help. So yeah.
It's Alex and Jessica's life.
Well, Chris
I'm not.
Okay.
too.
Just to unveil the math behind QR codes, you literally Google QR generator and then you just pop it in. It is not computer science.
You don't need to do anything. You just enter the link, click like convert, and they'll make it.
I don't think anyone here knows what a link is, guys. You're gonna have to.
But like also, Alex, like I understand that you're going to the best like design school in the country, but like also I'm
okay, because Alex.
Wait a minute, I'm not, but I can do it too. Come on.
But you're going to USC.
Okay, USC. It's not hard.
You're a Trojan who went in through the front door. You earned your place, girl.
The front door.
No Trojan horse for Jessica.
Over both.
Okay, but seriously, it's like you just look up QR code generator and then you type it in. And that's it.
Yeah. I know. Try not to be shocked. Take your child off the floor.
All right. So thank you all. Urani, you can stop sharing your screen if you want. Thank you so much for that. So I'm going to end this meeting because, like I said, I have homework. So I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting at 5:32 p.m.
I move.
Oh,
first by Ariane. Is that a second by Jessica or Frida?
I second.
Oh, wait, is it a second by Ryan or is it a second by Frida?
It's actually a first by Frida, but like I'll give it to Ariane.
Yeah. All right, with the second from Frida, because she's so nice, right? All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, meeting adjourned, y'all. Bye.
Bye.